Hello everyone, welcome to College Junior. Today we have Siddhant Narula on the panel. Siddhant happens to be my batchmate from PGP class of 23 ISB. He was also the vice president of the Business Technology Club and a Dean's Lister. So hey Siddhant, welcome to College Junior. If you could please introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey Ayush, I think you said most of it. So my name is Siddhant. I sort of joined ISB last year and just graduated just a few days back. And prior to this, I was working with Flipkart for about 3 years. And before that, I was with a company called InMobi for about half a year or so. And I graduated from BITS Pilani in 2019. And yeah, that's just a bit about me.
So for just the sake of the interest of viewers, Siddhant is actually going to work for one of the best B2C companies that comes to the campus for a product manager role. So Siddhant, why did you choose ISB particularly? Like apart from the other options of IIMs, maybe FMS, XLRI, why ISB for your product management career?
Yeah, so I think going into product management is not that easy. I mean, nowadays, I think a lot of people are sort of trying to go the internal route where you sort of work a few years and then you go there. But it's not traditionally been that easy and still is not that easy. So for me, that career switch was the major reason why I wanted to do an MBA. And there were two reasons that sort of came out to me why ISB over any other IIM. So one is that ISB has a good track record in terms of allowing career switches. So I think a lot of people around me after I joined also realized most of them are coming with a mindset of a career switch, and ISB has had a very good track record there. Mm. And the second was it was only a 1-year program. So because my intention was a career switch, it was very important to me that I don't spend a lot of time in an MBA because obviously it takes me back a couple of years. So that 1-year program was really lucrative for me in terms of an ROI. It was the highest for me. I mean, of course you have colleges like FMS with very low fees, but for me, it was more important that the time I spent in an MBA was, short enough for me. And so I think ISB was a natural choice, in fact, for me.
All right. So Siddhant, a lot of our viewers have this question that is it very necessary, especially in a 1-year MBA? Like in a 2-year MBA, you still get that window to pivot from your previous role to, a completely different role. But for a 1-year MBA, is it very difficult for a non-IT or a non-technical background person to kind of jump into this product management domain?
Yeah, so I think it's not that difficult. I would say difficult is not the word used, but it is in the sense that you will have to put in more work than others. But at the end of the day, if you are sort of able to project yourself in the same way as, let's say, people with an IT background, engineering background, then you won't have any trouble. So to give you an example, the company that I interviewed with that I'm going to be working for soon, there none of the questions pertain to any kind of IT knowledge or any kind of technical expertise as such. It was all about what a product manager really does, which is rarely so. There's a technical product manager which obviously needs to have an engineering background, but your product manager, as it is defined, software product managers don't need any kind of special technical expertise as such, right? You just need to understand stakeholder management to its highest level, right? That's essentially what product management is. Of course, problem solving is the biggest part of it, but in terms of technical expertise, you don't really need a lot of that. So getting back to your question, Ayush, is that a lot of people around me were doctors, were CAs, were coming from finance backgrounds, have got placed at product manager roles, right? And the best of best product manager roles. I'm not just saying that, someone with the doctor who I know got placed as a senior or a group product manager at a very big technology company, right? So I don't think, and I don't know if this is ISB specific, but at least at ISB, I've seen that you do not need special tech experience or IT experience just to, obviously it makes it easier, but you do not need that experience to get into product manager role. And what you can do to offset that is there are a lot of things you can do at ISB. There are a lot of ways you can sort of make up that skill gap if there's any need as such. And there's a lot of things you can do. That's a whole separate topic of discussion. But yeah, there's a lot you can do.
Yep. So let's talk about the application, because it is the application that ultimately gets you into the institute, right? So if I'm like a product aspirant and I have maybe an IT background, right? And it forms the bulk of the applications here at ISB. What should I majorly focus on? Let's talk about the essays first, the leadership essay and the goals essay. So I think let's talk about the goals essay. The leadership essay is kind of generic for everyone. But what about the goals essay, the 5-year and the 10-year long term? Is there a template to follow, the STAR template or REC template?
Yeah, so I personally did not use any template as such. So I actually knew what my 5-year goal was, and I sort of used that to come up with a 10-year goal for me as well. For example, I knew that in 5 years I want to be, let's say, a SPM or a GPM, and maybe 10 years later I want to be, maybe a BU head or something like that, right? So 5-year, 10-year plan can be in terms of this, can be in terms of what role or what kind of level of responsibility you want, and then based on that you can sort of write what does each role entail, right? So that is something that's a direction you can take if you've seen that in your organization. If while working you have seen people in these positions, what they've been doing, how they've been working, how is it different from what you're doing, seen that, then it becomes easier to write that essay. But it doesn't have to be that, right? It can be, let's say, if you're saying that I want to do a career switch and step one for me is just a foot in the door, and maybe like eventually I want to, maybe have my own company, have a startup, right? So that could be a 5-year, 10-year goal. So I while there could be templates online, I won't recommend writing a template. And this I've seen with most people, just write the essay from what you feel, what you sort of feel about yourself, what you know to be true, right? You don't really have to faff a lot as such. Yeah, I think so. Basically, you don't need to follow any template. And yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's about telling the admissions team more about yourself rather than anything else. So the more they get to know you, the more likelihood that your application will be accepted, in fact.
From a product perspective, like clearly a product perspective, see, ISB is a consulting school. That's what we've heard till now. So how does the faculty base for, Prodman, how does the product prep look like within the campus?
Yeah. So, I mean, two things I'll talk about. One is from an academic perspective. So there are very, very good professors for product management. In fact, they have a whole course dedicated to software product management, which spans over 2 terms. It's one of the rare courses that is a 2-credit course. It spans over 2 terms, and it's taken by a great professor who's actually the head of product of Google India. And he has another course on software startups, which is again a great course if you're trying to be a product manager. Apart from that, see, ultimately, consulting and product management, what they have in common is that they're, at the end of the day, they're both about problem solving, right? And especially when it comes to problems in marketing, that's exactly what a product manager is. Product management is all about consumer behavior, marketing, right? All of that. And so any marketing course you do in ISB will contribute towards you as a product manager. In fact, it helped me a lot in my interviews. Most of the marketing courses I did, we had a marketing analytics course, which was marketing research course and a marketing analytics course, which is especially useful for my interview, specifically the place where I'm going to be joining soon. So I don't think that's a problem from an academic standpoint. The other is in terms of everything outside of academics, your extracurriculars or your case competitions. There was a survey done on campus, and there was something I heard, something along the lines of more than 50% or about 50% of the student cohort was interested in product management, right? So this trend of consulting, most students preferring consulting, is changing, right? So last year, in fact, the Business Technology Club at ISB had record membership, and this year it's gone even higher. And we expect next year to be, the membership to reach to higher than 50% levels, right? So the thing is that the interest in the market itself for product management has gone up so much that you will start seeing trends of how faculty here or even activities here will slowly adapt to that market as well, right? So where there be case competitions, you'll start seeing more case competitions for product management in general, or whether it's to do with any kind of your study groups, you'll start seeing more people around you interested in product management. So I don't think that should be a problem at all. At least me also, so definitely won't be for you.
Perfect. So I mean, just to add there, I think ISB is one of the most favorite schools as far as startups are concerned. I think the number of offers that we've got this year from, and any other year for that matter, from startups is kind of among the top notch here in India, right? Apart from that, I mean, let's just let's go to the interview. We can talk about the awards and achievements, but I think they're very generic to every application. I think the goals essay is what makes your product. If you're a product aspirant, that's what makes a difference here. But what about the interview? How was your interview? You need not mention the name of the alums that took your interview.
Yeah.
But I like, as far as our viewers know, that ISB alums do take the interview.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, so my interview was actually very chill. I mean, so my interview was, it was more like a conversation, right? So I'll tell you, I've spoken to a few people about their application interview. So I can tell you this: if you know your role, what you've done during your work experience, if you know that well enough, if you know it in and out, you understand the reason for why a decision was taken at a certain point of time, and you understand that 3 whys later, right? If someone asks you why this decision was taken, why did that happen, if you can understand each and every single step in every single initiative you took 3 whys later, you will be good. You will absolutely not need anything else beyond that in your interview. It's the interview is just going to be a conversation about what you did, why you did, and how you did it, right? They might ask you questions based on their expertise. So let's say if you're coming from an operations background, and they will have alums sitting in who have operations backgrounds, right? They'll be able to ask you relevant questions. So expect relevant questions, but as long as you know your stuff, you won't have any problems at all. Apart from that, they didn't ask me a lot about my undergrad, but some people I know, they were asked about their undergrad as well. So, about, let's say, what they did. So I think that was primarily for those who are going for YLP. So YLP, I think it's only undergrad, right? There's no work experience. So YLP, they did ask a lot about their undergrad. But yeah, for those who are coming with WorkX, you absolutely have nothing to worry about as long as you know your stuff in and out. There will be grilling, like in the sense they'll ask you a lot of whys, but as long as you know your stuff, there's no problem.
So for a lot of people who mentioned like consulting or Genman in their essay, they usually ask guesstimates or, some consulting cases in case they have that kind of experience. But you asked a product case in your interview?
Because I was very clear in my essay that I'm looking for a switch. So they didn't expect me to have any expertise in product management. So yeah, that's another way you can be smart about your essay, right? If you mention career switch, or if you say that I'm looking to get into consulting for the first time and this is the background that I come with, if you emphasize your background, then you might be questioned a lot more on that, right? Because ultimately interviewers don't come with a set mindset. They sort of go off what you have written in your application, right?
Got it. And I think what they look for is transferable skills from your last stint. Yeah. So
yeah, I think I just said one more quick thing. I mean, interviewers are not looking to reject you, they're looking to accept you. Just don't give them a reason to reject you, that's all.
I think the first stage is the filtration stage, wherein your application is kind of culled by the people there, but the second stage is kind of the acceptance stage. So I think this year the job market in a lot of B schools, like the placement process was hit very badly by the job market scenario. How good was it at ISB?
So it was actually pretty good at ISB considering the market. I mean, we had very good placement stats as such. What I think people will be more concerned about is the quality, right? So did I get what I was looking for? I think for product management specifically, I saw almost everyone getting largely what they're looking for, right? And the best part is that once you have an offer in hand, you can always use it to pivot into something else, right? So or look for an alternate opportunity, right? So I was also kind of worried getting into the placement season, but I think once we got into it, I realized that there are enough jobs, there are enough opportunities out there still, and because the best part about ISB is that our placements sort of take place before the IIMs, before almost all the MBA colleges. So that way we do get first pick in terms of which companies and what kind of profiles they offer, right? So that's I think another advantage that I saw at ISB, that you will get good opportunities despite the market. Having said that, I absolutely don't see the market staying the same next year. For next year placements, I see the market doing much better. Demand will go up very quickly. And I mean, I won't worry about that at all. I think if in this market the team was able to do this well, ISB was able to serve so well, then I think next year we won't have an issue at all.
Yep, I've rarely seen anyone complaining about placements this year, especially in the product management space.
Yeah.
Even if people couldn't get through, they got something, like they have something that they really, really wanted as a second backup.
Exactly.
So you were the vice president of Business Technology Club. Now I am someone who's very keen to join ISB, but I want to know what kind of a support do I get from clubs and chapters, or what club should I join that could really help me with my product management prep within the college?
Yeah, so I think largely BTC focuses on 3 things. So first is basically your placement prep. That is obviously the most important thing that you'll be looking for. So that comes in the form of workshops, which are extremely important. So basically we take a classroom and we actually go through 4 to 6 hour workshop where you actually do problem solving right there in the classroom. You'll have very senior product managers come from great companies. We had Microsoft product managers, we had Tata New product managers.
Paytm.
Paytm also came, yeah, exactly. We had, but ShareChat, I think, had a workshop. So we had a lot of these workshops, and basically they actually sit with you, they actually give you problems in the class, and all of you solve it together. That really stimulates your mind, right? So you get to know how to think through an interview as well. The second thing we do is in terms of resources, in terms of speaker sessions, in terms of alum engagement. So this is basically something that goes on throughout the year, which is where we'll keep giving you resources on how you can sort of get started in a product prep journey, how you can, and then what are the kind of alums you need to connect with. We even give you resume making, we give you alum buddies for making your resume, we give you alum buddies for your interview prep, mock interviews, right? And then you also have speaker sessions where alums come and talk about their experience with companies. So it helps you understand companies, understand what is product management. A lot of people don't know what is product management, and they want to come here and understand that, right? In fact, I know a whole bunch of people who came here thinking that we want to do consulting and left with product management roles and are happier for it, right? So there'll be a lot of that. And the last thing we do is basically for helping out people who come with no tech experience and helping them sort of get some sort of tech understanding, right? So there also it's more on resources, right? So for example, I don't know what an API is. We'll sort of give you the right resources to understand what is an API, and very briefly, right? What is relevant to your role. You don't need to know how to create an API. You don't need to know the ins and outs, right? So, so these are mainly the kind of things. This year we did something new. We also, sort of encouraged people to create their own platform, create their own product on campus, solving a real life problem. Use that as a point on your resume. So we had a few teams doing that. I don't know if it happens next year also, but yeah, basically the entire objective is to give you some kind of theoretical as well as hands-on knowledge on what is product management. Is it the right role for me? What have others been doing in this? And if I love all of this, then how do I become a product manager?
Even though it's a 1-year course, you do get ample time to kind of decide.
I mean, it's a 1-year course, so expect a roller coaster. You will be doing things day in, day out. Of course, parties and all will be there, but you will have a lot of work to do as well.
Yep. For sure. So I think, so my personal experience was people who even did not have an IT background. I did have an IT background, but like people who were not from a technical background, BTC was pretty inclusive about that as well. Yeah. And the handbook was very, very well designed. I rarely used anything other than the handbook as a Bible for my placement prep. So I think, it gets you through the placement process pretty well. Yeah, we've also had Product Conclave.
We have an entire festival or a management festival for product management. So we had CEO of Tata New right? Tata New come in and given a talk about product-led growth, and then we had a senior PM from Google. We had like crazy good speakers. We had a
Disney Hotstar.
Disney Hotstar. Yeah. So we had like really good company. So you won't find any dearth of networking opportunities or the right kind of speakers. That's not something you need to think about at all, because you will get all of that. You'll get much more than what you expect. So that's not something you need to be thinking about at all at this stage.
Perfect. So I think being a PM aspirant, if I'm trying to apply to ISB, I need to be very, very clear of why I need to get into product management, why exactly ISB, and how exactly ISB will help me. And I think this video does help people who want to get those answers, right? So thank you so much, Siddhant, for being a part of the interview, for helping people who want to get into ISB and want to get into product management particularly. I think they have a lot to gain from this particular interview. Thank you so much again.
No problem. Yeah.
Thank you.